Done. We're recording. And everyone goes silent as soon as we start recording.
No, so it was really fun. And I guess the name of the game was one of my, I was like, all of a sudden they started to sing that song and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite songs on that album. So I made this rush. I even almost got teary-eyed. So I forgot how much I loved that song on the album. They only had two albums on vinyl. I still have them. They're in my storage unit. But I wasn't like huge into them. But I mean, I was 5 years old. It was disco. It was like big things, you know?
See, because when I was growing up, ABBA was a bit dorky. To be into ABBA was a bit dorky because I had older siblings. So for me, it was like they would pay out on ABBA and you just, like, it was dorky to like them. So I grew up just going, oh, ABBA, that's so dorky. And I was like, and this resurgence that's come through now, you know, I can only say that I bowed to my siblings' desires and tastes, which has been good. I'm an avid Meatloaf fan. I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's both of those are from my brother, and from my sister, Bay City Rollers. Oh, who remembers Bay City Rollers, really?
No, not really.
Right? You don't, Dawes, really?
No. Never really, yeah. I honestly didn't probably get into music when I was about 16.
And so what kind of music was there at that time?
I was really ill.
Yeah.
Wham. What was that? That was my favourite, you know. We didn't have much music in my house.
Okay.
Unless it was country. And I hate country.
Apologies to any country fans.
Since then, yes. Yes. Just me. Not my type of music.
I grew up in a theater household, so I grew up around the theater. My parents, until like I was 8 years old, I was like living backstage. So my parents were so heavily involved in the local theater. I was in Showboat at 4. So I grew up with all this stuff. And then my dad, he was the manager of amusement parks when I was a kid. So we were always hanging out in the amusement parks, and he was always organizing things, whatever. And when we moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, he actually had a gig at the park called Disco Vic. So he would wear the white leisure suit and emceed and all that stuff. So like I was so involved in that type of world that it's just natural for me. It's like, yeah, this is natural for me. And the funny thing is, my brother and I are like so big into music. My parents like completely forgot about it. Like my dad listens to talk radio. My mom classical or the music channel on TV. And that's pretty much it.
Wow.
I was like, what happened to my family?
They grew up. They grew up.
I guess so. And then my contemporary music came in with my uncle, because my uncle's 2 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
So when he got into Rush and David Bowie, I was like 12 years old, and he was 14, and I was like, this is like heaven. And that was it. I was done. I was like a music fan for the rest of my life, and I still to this day. My iPod or my iPhone playlist, it goes from Aretha Franklin to Justin Bieber to Metallica to Megadeth it's all over the board. My Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got all into it. So me, my uncle, my brother, we're just like so into music, it's ridiculous. And the rest of my family just kind of abandoned it, except for maybe a few things here and there.
Well, I've got to say that as Dawes commented on one of the Thrash It Out Thursday things, this idea of introducing Thrash It Out Thursday has made me really go back and look at songs and like at first it was just posting stuff that was really that had an impact while I was growing up, and now I have to Google, and then I have to listen to words of songs and go, oh yeah, that's a good one. because I was going to post one, which is a hidden track from one of Alanis Morissette's albums, and oh my God, it's just a haunting song. Have you heard it, Dawes? The hidden track?
The acapella one?
Can't remember.
Oh, it's amazing.
The acapella one?
Yeah.
Where she goes into her boyfriend's house and she smells.
Oh,
I love
that. So I went on a Vipassana retreat. I can't remember how old I was. I think it was about 26 at the time, I think. And so does anyone know what the Vipassana is? So it's basically you, I think it was a week. And once you go, the moment you step over the threshold, there's no speaking at all.
Oh, yeah, I know what those are.
Yeah, so it's meditating 3 or 4 times a day. They have all your meals for you. It's very basic accommodation. It was up in the Blue Mountains here in Sydney, and but no speaking, like nothing. And I kind of went, yeah, that's pretty cool. I can do that. And then on the last day before you leave, you're allowed to start speaking, like introduce yourself to other people. And what I did was I've got goosebumps thinking about it now. I took myself off into the bush and I sat on a rock and I sang that Alanis Morissette song, like out into the valley and like top of my voice. And it was, and you know how haunting that song is. And it was like, whoa, that was really powerful, like really powerful. Had my breakdown about 6 months after that. Yeah, good.
I guess it was pretty powerful.
It was pretty powerful. You know, you've got to be mute for a week and then you come out and you've discovered all these things about yourself and then you've got to basically re-enter society and you feel really cleansed and very powerful. And then you come back to reality. And it's a smack in the face and it's quite harsh. And, you know, I think back to that time and I think, you know, it's what I don't want for anyone that I work with because it's harsh. It's harsh to not have societal, what's the word? What am I looking for? Socially accepted behavior. You know, and it's huge. What can I ask your opinion on this? Like, actually, Kelly Ray, can I ask your opinion on that sort of thing?
Yeah, as far as being what's so
disconnected, and then having to conform to societal behaviours to sort of, and it's not necessarily to fit in, but to be accepted or to be able to function.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough, especially because somebody always plays a dominating role. I mean, isn't that true? There's always somebody who's going to be the dominant who decides what's going to be acceptable and what's not going to be acceptable. And that's really tough, especially that's when you start seeing power struggles and that happen with people.
Wow, that's actually really insightful. I'd never thought of it that way, that there always is a person that sets the standards, that sets the rules of behavior. Wow.
Yeah, so when you think about, like, in the late 70s or so, they had, you started hearing about kids that were being diagnosed with ADD or attention deficit disorder. You know, in truth, they were probably the indigo children that were coming into society in the late 60s, early 70s. They didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they were coming in for the purpose of change, of kind of breaking down the barriers, the walls of things that weren't working, education system needing to be reformed, you know, the protesters, the ones that, but the problem is society had already gotten being comfortable with who and what the system was. Now you have these change makers that are being brought into the planet, and everybody wants to keep them the same. So they go and medicate them real quick. Let's put them on drugs. Let's put them in a state of well, we feel comfortable being around them. And the same is happening probably in the last 10 years or 15 maybe, with probably closer to 15, with autism and Asperger's. You know, we immediately want to go look for a blame as to why these kids are the way they are. They're now young adults, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're extremely intelligent. They're highly functional. A lot of them they lack that ability, for a better word to say, they don't get emotionally caught up in shit like we do.
Wow, what a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so people will then say, oh, they don't have social skills, or they lack empathy. It's not that they lack empathy. They don't get caught up in the bullshit.
Wow.
But so now we want to make them, we want to do something with them so that we can feel comfortable again, because they make us feel uncomfortable. They make us question what it is we believe.
Boom. Like, seriously, that's the core of it, isn't it? It's what makes everyone else uncomfortable about someone who is perceived as being different.
Isn't that true about women? I mean, if we want to talk about women, that's been the issue all along. We've been bringing in life form into this planet, and that's the one thing that can't be controlled. That's the one thing that the male masculine wants, is that power. They don't have that power.
Oh.
They're part of the process. They're part of the creation of life, but they can't fully conceptualize what it is to be a creator of that state.
Yep. I think I'm going to rename this the Mastermind World Changer Group.
Well, I mean, you think about it. You think about just all of the women that are here in this group. I mean, this pretty damn powerful. And how long? I mean, we all incarnated to be females here.
Yeah.
We took this role to come here as a female because we had something that we needed to continue doing. We needed to carry on the wisdom of women. We needed to have the experience as a woman. And I mean, that's powerful.
Goosebumps everywhere. Like, from toes to my hair, I have goosebumps everywhere. Powerful.
I think what I love about that, Kelly Ray, is that you know, it's actually the empowerment of women, and it's not the and pardon language now, it's not fuck you, I'm a woman and I can do whatever I want. It's standing so strong in who you are and being able to move forward with that strength and not being knocked down. And look, I'm not saying that men don't have that ability, but, you know, men sort of, the perception is that men have that quality inherently, whereas as women, and we're all kind of in a similar age bracket, there's, you know, about a 10-year span, we've had to fight for that. We've had to fight to become who we are. And individuals, and I know each of you really well, and I know quite a bit about your stories, and everyone knows a lot about my story, of actually having to break through those barriers that have been imposed on us. But then to stand in that power and be able to say, it doesn't matter if I'm male or female, this is who I am, you know? And to me, that's equality. That's equality. That's not saying I'm a woman and you need to respect the fact that I'm a woman. It's, I'm a person, I happen to be female, this is my power, I stand in it.
Yep.
And now I'm covered in goosebumps head to toe.
Well, yeah, because when I think of women, I think of water, and I think of the flow of like a river or a stream. The water doesn't ask for permission to go. It doesn't crash and ruin you as it goes through you. It just knows where it's going and it goes, you know, and it doesn't have to be that forceful bruteness about it. And that's what I love. And, you know, probably in the last, I'm going to say about 10, 15 years, in some ways, I feel empathy for the male.
Yeah.
The masculine. I'm not going to say the masculine. I'm going to say men in general, those that are in male form, because quite honestly, I think that they're not sure what their role is anymore. Because in quite honesty, we as women didn't know what our role was. And the lines have gotten so blurred and so crossed. And the other thing is I think there's a reason why we're having so much transgender awareness being
wow, yeah.
because I think it's almost like we're evolving into a next realm of there is no identity. There is no gender identity.
Yeah.
Because we're so much more than a gender identity.
Yes.
And I just kind of feel like we're on the ground floor of that happening.
And you know, I hear that, and what comes back is something that came up when we started talking about this, is that it's what makes other people uncomfortable, but what makes people comfortable is the labels. You know, right. So if you can identify something and put a label on it, it no longer becomes scary. Mm-hmm. You know, right. But you step sideways out of that label and people become fearful. And that's a shame. You know, I don't know if that's a generic acceptance kind of thing. But I think that each one of us has experienced stepping outside of that label and felt the repercussions of that. You know, where you've been then wrapped back up, you know, with a I keep getting visions of, you know, the cartoons where they you know, Penelope Pitstop on the, you know, wrapped up in a rope, but then, you know, like this as well. And, you know, you step outside of that label, and that's what a lot of people, I'm not going to say society, but a lot of people don't feel comfortable with, because you are pushing their boundaries. You know, you've had the courage, each one of you, I know each one of you has had the courage to push through the boundaries imposed on you. And a lot of people find that quite threatening. It rubs them the wrong way. I guess because I would say a lot of people wish that they could do the same thing, and they see it as either a threat, which is the most common response, or, you know, they want it. They want to do the same thing, and they've got no idea how to do it. You know?
Yeah. I think it's human nature to want to put things in a box.
Yeah.
You know, like even like in our own lives, everything's got to be categorized, and this goes over there, and this goes over there, and it's what makes our brain happy when things are in categories and in boxes. And when the boxes start to fall apart in your attic, what do we feel like? We feel like, oh my gosh, everything's all over the place, and we start to freak out. And I think that's kind of, in a figurative sense, that's kind of what's going on now, is because the boxes are falling apart.
You know what? You know? Can I say I really like that observation, and what I can add to that is that I'm a big fan of putting things in boxes, but I want to quantify that I'm a fan of putting things in boxes, not people.
Yeah.
You know, if I need to lay my hands on if I can swing the camera, if it'll work. You see those baskets over on the side?
Uh-huh.
They all used to be labelled. So they would be labelled with what was in them. And if you see my wardrobe behind, which I'm not going to spin the camera because it's too hard, all my photo albums have labels on them of, you know, what event is in that particular photo album. Because when I need information, I want to be able to put my hands on it, right? And just in what you've said, Victoria, you know, this realization has come through for me. I'm happy to put things in boxes. I'm happy to be organized, like my little right, I don't know, oh, where is it? See that little pen holder?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's screwed to the desk so it doesn't move. So that it doesn't get out of place. Because I like my things in place.
And I think that's what the mind likes. The mind likes that.
The mind does.
in today's society, there's very few boxes anymore. There's very few categories.
Yeah.
And the more we start, and I think, you know, at the same time, you know, like our labels are getting blurred, but at the same time, those people that are trying to blur the labels are putting labels on themselves. I look at, you know, just like the LGBT community. Well, now it's like LGBTQI, whatever. I mean, it's like they keep adding identifiers onto that little, like, thing. And it's like, can't you just be human? You know, you are you. You are just the way you are. You don't have to have an I next to your name, or a Q next to your name, or a B, or an L, or a T. It's just be you. Be you. Be intrinsically you.
I completely agree. And I commented on a post on Facebook quite some time ago, and it was the list of different identifiers. And I kind of went exactly the same thing. I kind of went, wow, why can't you just say you're human? And someone came back and commented, and at the time I had my dogs as my profile picture, and she said, so, you know, if someone asks you what breed your dogs are, and I went, well, yeah, but that's their heritage, not who they are. But what I want to say as well is that the labels actually serve a purpose for people that are trying to find themselves. It's a starting point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, because
but I didn't start finding myself until I let go of my labels.
Absolutely. And I agree with you entirely. You know, let go of the expectations of what you're supposed to be. But when you are in that drifting space, you know, if you can anchor to something, I completely agree with that. But then you build on that. You know, it's the struggle that I've personally had of identifying who I am and what I do. You know, and it's gone through so many different incarnations that it's just like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm a healer. You know, whether it's intuitive or whether it's this or whether it's that, I'm a healer. You know?
Yeah, and that was what I used. That was like my aha moment. Hey, I'm not this. I'm a healer. I'm just, whatever that means. Exactly. I don't care. I'm just a healer.
Exactly.
Well, and the thing is none of these labels or titles necessarily should be cemented, because life is ever changing.
Yes.
So as we evolve, or as we take on a different journey pathway of our life, we may hold a different title, you know, so it's like not getting so locked into that.
And allowing the flexibility. Dawes, what are your thoughts on it?
Right.
Well, that's something I actually realized today with, you know, how my business and everything.
Yep.
Instead of trying to label it, and I'm trying to conform to the label that I've given to it, it just conforms to me. So if I move ahead and I grow a little bit more, it will grow with me and it will change. So it was a big aha moment probably yesterday, this morning, about this conforming. I was trying to conform to a label.
Yeah.
To what I thought I needed to be. I'm just Doreen. I'm just Doreen without any other labels, and it has to mold with me.
Yep.
I'll drag it along, not it drag me along. Do you know what I mean? It was a box.
Yeah.
I felt like my business that I wanted to do was a box, and I was trying to mold into that box. I felt like that old Tupperware toy. Do you remember the Tupperware toy we had?
Yep.
The plastic thing, all the shapes? I felt like the square trying to fit into the round box.
Yep.
And once I let that go, massive change. And now it's like, I'm Doreen.
And I love that.
Whatever it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I do. I love that. And what I can offer you, because I think what people then go through is, oh, how could I be such a fucking idiot putting a label on myself? And what I can offer to that is that is the intrinsic need we have for comfort. It's that intrinsic need we have to identify with something so that we can find our feet and then grow.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Well,
So
I think also I was never comfortable as Doreen. As you know, my name was Dawes. I'm not using Doreen. And until working with you, I'm now comfortable in my own skin as, this is me. I'm Doreen. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm going to put whatever I want in my hair. I don't care if my earrings come down to my bloody hips. I'm me. I'm comfortable. I'll do whatever I like.
Yep.
Yeah, Grace says the earrings are getting longer and longer. I went, yeah, 'cause that's me.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Doors, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And funny with working with you that I could actually, after 48 years, step into my shoes and say, I'm Doreen. No other labels.
Yep.
Doreen.
Are we like all around the same age?
I'm 48.
I'll be 47 in like 2 months.
And I just turned 48. And Kelly Ray, you don't have to speak.
Around the same age.
But what I want to say is that you know, this is like a freaking women's mastermind group right here. And
I've had the tingles and the goosebumps since it started. It's like, oh my God, never thought of it like that. Wow, that's powerful. Amazing.
I've got to say,
this actually works with what I'm doing, because my whole like focus changed this past week, and it kind of is like all coming together, and it's kind of cool.
Yep. Completely agree. Well, ladies, I think we've just gone over the half-hour mark. Does anyone have any other comments they want to add? I know, right?
Already. Yeah. Nice to meet everybody.
Yes. I've seen you on the interview with Adele.
That was so
and I love what you do, by the way, because my body is like forcing me to become semi-vegan. So like seeing all these plant-based things is like, that's probably where I'm going to end up being, because it's almost like, unless it's a steak or it's like a chicken sausage, almost all meat like just comes back up on me or builds up sulfur in my body. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a slow change. You can't just do it overnight.
Yeah. No. Well, I've been kind of I've been vegan who eats meat on the side. Yeah, I know. It sounds weird. But 3.5 years ago, I took a food sensitivity test, and because I wasn't feeling right, and everything that popped positive on the test, I took out. And the ones that were like off the charts, like not like past the 1,500 number scale, was eggs, dairy, and gluten. And so I'm basically gluten-free vegan. And you know, I have to have plain meat. So I had a prime rib tonight, which will suit me for like a couple weeks. But it's like I'm pretty much my body. And I thought O positive needed meat, red meat, but I don't know. We'll see how my body changes, but it's been changing.
There's a label for you. I thought O positive needed red meat. How about what Victoria needs?
I know. My husband's like, you're going to be vegan. I know you are. You're going to be vegan. I'm like, but I tried that once and I was so tired all the time. I'm like, no, you're going to be vegan. I'm like, argh!
Well, actually, Dawes, just as we sort of wind it up, can you share a little bit about your journey with your food and sort of, you know, how long you've been doing what you're doing, how long you've been eating the way you eat, and you're really innovative as well. You're really innovative with what you do with food.
With plants, I am. When I start cooking plants, it just comes to me. Like I need making a cheesecake tomorrow for my son-in-law, and I need a cream cheese that's not tofu based. Cannot find a recipe anywhere, and in the shower it'll pop in my head. Just do these 3 steps and you'll have cream cheese. So I did that and it worked. So when it comes to plants, there's just something in my brain that goes click, 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 click. But when it's not plants and it's something else, it's just, just throw it all together. So,
Dawes, you're the plant whisperer.
yes. So I went vegan first in 2012. You know, you do it for a while, you come off it, you're not fully into it. But I've struggled with eating meat, as you know, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Always just in my mind, don't want to eat meat, but you just do. I'm now removing, as we're on the subject of labels, I now no longer class myself as vegan. I'm Doreen and I eat plants. That's my label. I'm Doreen and I eat plants. Not being put into a box. And I've just found out now, well, I shouldn't be eating meat. So my body knew right from when my age was young that you don't eat meat. You can't absorb that iron. It's too much for you. And I've only found out yesterday, after all these trying to eat meat, you should do this, you should do that. No, spiritually and emotionally, I don't want to eat meat. I just want to eat plants. It was my body or my spirit saying, you can't eat meat.
Yep.
Your body can't get rid of that iron. And I found that out yesterday. So a calm has come on now where I don't have to listen to anybody else.
Yep.
I will eat what I want today. I'm not going to worry about the next meal. And if I really wanted that 2-inch steak, then I'll eat it. But I don't think I'll ever want it. But I'm not labelled. I'm Doreen and I eat plants.
What I love, if you don't mind, and I can only say this because I know that you won't mind my sharing this, is that you went through the phase of reintroducing animal products. And I actually think that's, to my mind, that's actually really important to gain that understanding of why am I not doing it? Why should I do it? For yourself, for your own purpose, for your own benefit, and then make the informed decision. Because, you know, for you, the idea of animal products was almost a phobia. It had to be, it had to be overcome so that you could move beyond what had reached really a phobia state.
Oh, it was emotional wreck where, but if I did eat meat, it wasn't the fact that I'd eaten a bit of meat. It was the conditioning before I'd eaten it. The big workup in my body, well, you're going to eat it. And then the picturing of that, if it was a lamb chop, I don't see a lamb chop. I see a tortured lamb getting all the things done to it, the poor life that it had. And to the point where you've got to eat it. You've been told by the nutritionist you've got to eat it. I'd eat it, and then the emotional journey afterwards would last a lot longer than the digestion of that lamb.
You know, it's interesting that you should say that, Doris, because what I see that you dealt with that in a past life, a real recent past life, where you were a small girl at like a farm or something like that, and it's like you were being forced to watch this. Aww. and you were protesting, but because you were so small and a child, you know, they didn't give children a right to have a voice. You weren't able to share that. I mean, that's just what I saw just now, and I'm thinking that must be why you were so passionate about this when you were so young, before you even had an opinion in this life, because it came into this life.
That's cool. Yeah.
Can I share, Dawes?
Yeah, I can see that. Go for your life.
Kelly Ray, basically what you said is a replica of what Dawes actually went through in this life as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's so sad. Yeah.
Virtually word for word.
Yeah. My family.
I had a little tiny, I stopped eating veal when I found out what they were, because I love cows. And the fact of what veal was, and these little cows being ripped away from their mom. Just I 30 years stopped eating veal, and I had a piece just last Saturday. My husband, he thought it was just a steak, but it was a veal steak. And he doesn't really eat veal either, but I had a little taste because I just kind of want to see. And I literally, a second I had that taste, I said a prayer for the little lamb. I just I just can't. And I kind of do that with lamb, you know. I feel, the weird thing is happening with me and meat. It doesn't happen with if I have a steak or something like that, but it's almost like I can eat foods from animals that are humanely and sustainably raised, but I can't eat foods from factory farms.
Yeah.
Which is the weirdest thing. So if I have free range chicken that's been able to eat bugs and live a life and walk around in a pasture, my body accepts it more than if I go to a restaurant and have whatever chicken they serve me. So it's really weird how that's happening.
Doors.
How I see that is, and just since I've had my own spiritual awakening, which I'm only a baby and I've only just become, I'm listening to things. You're actually factory farming. I see you eating their misery, their torture, their heartache.
Yeah, I can't do it. I feel really bad.
Sorry, go on, Dawes.
Animal, then you're eating it and you're bringing that vibration into. You're actually that vibration's in the meat. Like when they're going lined up being slaughtered, they know what's going on. That vibration is in their body when they are slaughtered, and then you're eating that vibration, and that vibration is then entering your body. And I think that's why people do have trouble with it. I cook meat for my husband; he's a plant eater, and I don't have a problem with it if it's ethically sourced. And that's what
I wanted you to touch on, Dawes.
I can say a little thank you over it, cook it for my hubby, and I don't bat an eyelid. I'm not eating it, but I don't think nowadays I could just go and get the cheapest piece of steak in Woolies and cook it.
Yeah,
I would have a problem with it. The smell makes me dry reach. It actually smells, to me, it smells different.
Mm-hmm.
An ethically sourced piece of meat smells, and people look at me as if I'm nuts because my husband can't smell it. But a slaughtered house factory farm meat goes to the pit of my stomach where I want to throw up. Where I bought my husband some lamb the other day. It's free range, had a lovely life. Doesn't smell.
Wow.
To me,
Wow.
Well, yeah, and isn't it true? Fear stinks.
Exactly.
Fear does stink. I mean, we emanate body odor when we get really scared because we start changing the body chemistry of our own body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's gut-wrenching smell. It's death. So that's probably why your body can accept free range. Like my grandmother has the most loved chickens that walk around her farm. They eat bugs. They go to bed when they want to because they have to hide from the foxes, but they go when they want to, and I don't have a problem with those eggs. But if I just go and get caged eggs, they stink. Absolutely stink.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted you to, and thank you for sharing that, Dawes, because that's exactly what I wanted you to share, is that the difference it made for you in your decision-making process to consider the ethically sourced aspect of things.
Yeah. So if they're happy, to me, if they've had a happy life, like I don't judge people. Like I said, my husband eats meat. I even cook it for him. And if I was to label myself into the vegan police, the vegan section of the internet, what social media is like, I'd be slaughtered for it. But
Pardon the pun.
My husband eats meat and I cook it for him. But I make sure I saw it. And a few months ago, even that would have been a major issue.
Yeah.
Like my husband was eating a lot of fake meat that he didn't even know because I was not cooking him meat.
See, there's a lovely expression of a woman being like water, just making it happen. I'm not going to shove it down your throat.
You stick gravy on any of it. You stick gravy on it, it's meat.
We are wonderful, wonderful women, and those poor men who are in our lives and adore us, they don't know what they're in for, but they love it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, now my husband is the greatest. He's like totally supportive. He laughs at me every day. He thinks I'm a little bit of a kook, but he's awesome.
Yeah, so's mine. He backs me up 100% no matter what I do. But he likes his meat, so 2, 3, maybe, probably 3 times he'll have first meal, when I put a meal in front of him, the first words out of his mouth is, it real meat or fake?
So he's on to you. He's on to you.
On to me. Yeah. And then he eats plants the rest of the time. It does not bother him.
Yeah.
So, but It does not bother me now to cook. It doesn't bother me to cook it.
As
long as it's ethically sourced.
Yeah. My husband still laughs at me all the time, though. Whatever I do.
I don't know if Andre's so
Line
much.
rolls is
Yeah, I don't know.
Line
Andre's
rolls.
probably one of the most placid men I've ever met, and he doesn't. So, look again, ladies. Wow, 45 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah.
You are all absolute treasures. Truly, truly. I'm blessed to have each and every one of you in my life. I'm blessed to have each of you in the group with the contributions that you make, and I thank you from my heart for that. And okay, so do you mind if I actually post the recording into the group of this call?
Go for your life.
Okay, because I would love for everyone to see what incredible people we have in the group. You guys blow me away, individually, collectively. I'm just...
You're stuck with me for life.
And you know what? Happily so, Dawes. Happily so.
Oh, good.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining in. And
Well, thank you for having this.
thank you for the inspirational conversation. And truly, you know, I feel like we truly are part of a collective, and we've got three pretty special women right here that are pretty high up in that hierarchy, I reckon.
4.
Okay, 4.
Don't forget yourself.
Oopsie. Once again, thank you, ladies. Mwah. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Doors. Ladies over in the US, enjoy the weekend that's coming up. And again, from my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.